When wedding planning turns into wedding trauma. Burn update. It's getting better. It's getting there. It is healing. It's scabbing a lot and it's absolutely disgusting, but it's healing. First story. Am I the a-hole for saying I won't go to my friend's wedding after she dropped me as her maid of honor because of my looks? I can answer right now if you really want me to, but we'll read. This story came pretty recently, October 9th, 2025. I can already feel myself being annoyed. Sophie and I, both 27, have been close friends since we were 4. We're not the speak every day Laurel, Susanna type friends, but I genuinely consider her a sister and her parents are like my aunt and uncle. The Laurel, Susanna thing, they're characters from the TV show The Summer I Turned Pretty. In case you're wondering. Our families are close. My whole family is invited to her wedding, as is my boyfriend's family. My boyfriend is Sophie's brother's best friend. That is how close we all are. So I wasn't really surprised when she asked me to be her maid of honor, and I think that I have been a good one. Well, 2 weeks ago, Sophie, the other bridesmaids, and I went to try on bridesmaid dresses. I thought we all had a good time and that it was a pretty successful trip as we found dresses. Apparently, not really, because a couple of days later, Sophie asked to meet me. She asked that I step down from being maid of honor. She said seeing me in the bridesmaid dress made her realize she just didn't want me stealing focus from her and that she wouldn't feel good standing up there knowing everyone was probably comparing us. Sophie, we are far too pretty to be insecure. And I know I don't know what you look like, but that is how everyone should feel. Just your daily reminder, you're too good looking to be insecure, okay? I was so hurt. I admit I cried right then and there in the coffee shop, partly because I never wanted her to think that anyone would be thinking anything other than that she was the most beautiful bride on her wedding day, and partly because I was just so excited to be up there with her and she was kicking me out over something that I couldn't even control and wasn't really true. So I said, fine, it's her wedding. If she didn't want me up there, then I wouldn't be, but I wasn't going to come to the wedding as a guest when clearly my presence was going to be a burden to her. Sophie said that wasn't what she meant, and I asked her to explain. She said she desperately wanted me there, so she was going to put aside her feelings, but she just wanted pictures at the altar to be with her looking the best and to have that moment with everyone looking at her up there. She also wanted me to tell everyone that I dropped out because I was too busy. Let me talk to Sophie. I said none of this felt fair and I wasn't going to lie for her. I was a good friend and I did nothing wrong and she was being a brat, but that was her prerogative and I didn't have to play along. I told my boyfriend about this, who was pretty horrified, and agreed that if I didn't want to go, I shouldn't, although he still is because he is friends with the groom. But my mom and stepdad think that I would be the a-hole if I didn't go. My mom said it's also been obvious that Sophie was insecure. I never noticed this, and that she can understand where she's coming from. She said that I've had the spotlight our whole lives. Again, I don't think this is true. Sophie is far more outgoing and well-liked than I've ever been. And even though it's pretty sad, maybe she does deserve to be the princess on her wedding day, and I shouldn't hate her for it. She says that I will regret missing the wedding over this. My stepdad says that I should go because she's my oldest friend, and even if she is being unfair, sometimes you have to let people be irrational. I really don't know now. Sophie and I have so many mutual friends that there's not a lot of people I can ask about this without it getting back to her. So here I am. I feel like maybe I'm being a jerk having this blow up, but I don't see why I should even stay friends with someone who would exclude me from her wedding party over something superficial. And clearly she's been sitting on these feelings forever. Not to mention I already paid for her whole bachelorette party and the bridesmaid dress and contributed to the cost of her wedding jewelry. And now I just feel used. So, am I being a petty a-hole by refusing to go? I mean, I totally get why I wouldn't even feel comfortable going after that. I'm trying to put myself in both sides. I understand insecurities are very real, and even the hottest people in the world can have insecurities and flaws within themselves. Of course, I understand. But if I'm in her position, I wouldn't even feel comfortable going now. As a guest, as a bridesmaid, like even as the maid of honor, I would be sitting there thinking the whole time you're thinking of me stealing your spotlight by just existing, by just being there. Like, it kind of ruined that moment for you as like best friend and maid of honor. And I don't know. This is so messy. For what? For what? You're the bride. You're gonna be the most beautiful bride ever. What a shame. We have an update though, so maybe they resolved it and she went to the wedding. Let's see. The update came almost 3 weeks later, October 29th. Firstly, some digging was done by my boyfriend and myself, and we think we found the roots of the issue. A couple of months ago, my boyfriend, Sophie's brother, the groom, and Sophie were out for drinks. I remember this night, I had an event for another friend and I couldn't go. Over drinks, the groom apparently asked when my boyfriend was going to propose to me, and my boyfriend said, probably sometime next year. Groom then made a comment to the effect of, why would you wait that long? She's perfect. Now, according to both my boyfriend and Sophie's brother, Sophie was really mad about this because the groom waited several years to propose to her. She has been bringing it up to him regularly ever since. Obviously, we all assume he meant perfect for you, not literally perfect, but Sophie appears to be taking it personally. The second thing is that my mother did a little gentle probing, and it turns out that at this bridesmaid fitting, Sophie's mom told Sophie that she should have chosen a dress that wasn't going to make me look better than her. Why on earth would you ever say that to your daughter? Or to anyone, ever. In your life. I don't think she said it like that to Sophie, and this is just how it was relayed to my mom, and she said the dress drew attention to me. According to Sophie's mom, her aunt and cousin said the same thing, and I guess one of them ganged up on her about it. She also has been on Sophie about her pre-wedding diet. So it seems like these two things got blown out of proportion and ended up in Sophie's request that I not be the maid of honor. I ended up deciding not to speak to Sophie about any of this. She's planning her wedding. She should just enjoy this time. I don't want to make this about me or our friendship. And if I'm being totally honest, I wanted to know the reasons for my own peace of mind, but the truth is, nothing was going to change the fact that she took her feelings out on me, who only ever wanted to support her. None of these things came from me or had anything to do with me, but she chose to take a wrecking ball to a 20-year-old friendship rather than confront the people who upset her. I can't wrap my head around that, and I'm not going to try going forward. That being said, I decided to go to the wedding as my boyfriend's plus one, essentially, for closure for this entire mess. Now that I've calmed down, I don't really feel any particular way about going. I'll eat, I'll drink, I'll clap, and Sophie will just be the wife of my boyfriend's friend from now on, I guess. I haven't told anyone why I'm not the maid of honor. I just said in the group chat that it was for personal reasons, and everyone can speculate. Once the wedding is over, I'll tell our mutual friends the truth, and they can do with that info what they will. Sophie has reached out since to talk, but I sent her a message telling her that I will be at the wedding as a guest and that I hope she enjoys this time in her life, and I'm wishing her the best, and I haven't been replying to anything else. It has surprised me how quickly I've reached the numbness of just not caring anymore, but that is where I'm at. I genuinely wish her the best, but I just have zero interest in being part of her life anymore. I just can't see her or anything about our friendship the same way anymore, so that's that. I need to hear from you guys if you agree with her decision, or maybe you can relate from the bride's point of view. And you would have done the same by asking your best friend of 20 years to step out a maid of honor. Perspective. Let's have it in the comments. Next story. Fiancé cheated on me. Yeah, kind of hard to plan a wedding when that happens. Okay. My girlfriend and I have been together for a total of 6.5 years. Starting at 23 years old, we are both now 29. It was a good relationship, had some bumpy bits, but not things that are perhaps out of the ordinary. We got engaged in January of 2024. It was incredible, and we were very much in love. The following 14 or so months were hard on us. Both our careers were difficult, and it took a toll on us both. I became less affectionate generally, and to be honest, I've always been a bit like that, and more miserable with life in general, but was always very much in love with her. In April of this year, she ended our engagement 4 months before the wedding. She came home one day after a few months of generally avoiding me, really, and said that she was having doubts about the marriage. And it went from there. She explained it was because of the lack of affection towards her and the lack of communication and those sort of things. And she felt an immense pressure to sort it out before the wedding and generally become spooked by the situation, so she ended it. I was, of course, devastated. My whole world shattered. I moved back home with my parents. Fast forward 3 months, and she tells me she's made a huge mistake and asks if I would want to get to know her again. I hear her out, and I understand why she did what she did. I leave it for a few months to think and eventually decide that this is still the woman that I love. And I think we should try to work it out with the help of a counselor. Now, having been in counseling together for roughly 2 months, things are going brilliantly. We have always got on anyway, even through this year of separation. It has been lovely seeing her. We would see each other to sort out our shared items and move out the house and so forth, and it was always fun seeing her, if not so upsetting. So anyway, 2 months into counseling, it's all going great. Then the bombshell. A few days before, she told me she wanted to call off the wedding. Turns out she had slept with some random dude at work drinks on the weekend. Some bloke who she claims took advantage of her situation, though she fully admits it was her fault and is disgusted with herself. Perfect. The week she ended things with me, she slept with him again the weekend after. She then realized she destroyed her life with me. I don't know what that word means. Is it appropriate? Bloke? Bloke is a British, Irish, Australian slang term for man or guy. Oh, all right. So like a man. It literally says a man. Okay. Turns out she disliked him and left it quickly, claiming she only went along with it because she thought no one would ever want to be with her anyway after what she had done. She is completely remorseful and has said she is entirely at my mercy and doesn't expect forgiveness at all for it. She wants to be with me and be married to me, and she said she's made a life-altering mistake in ever leaving me and another mistake in sleeping with that guy. I understand why she ended up feeling the way she did about our relationship, and that is why I wanted to get into counseling with her. But this is a whole other thing now, right? I would never do what she did. And how do you do it and end your marriage and then do it again the next weekend if you are racked up with guilt? Just reaching for anything, I suppose? She says that she was almost attempting to make a commitment to self-sabotage as a way of convincing herself she hasn't made the biggest mistake of her life. Which I get, to be honest. In for a penny, in for a pound. She says she didn't tell me originally because she was already ending it and wanted to spare me the pain because she was calling the wedding off anyways. And when she started counseling, she made it clear to the counselor that she wanted to bring this up immediately, but the counselor advised against it, which again, I kind of understand. But yeah, anyway, so here I am. I was told this yesterday. I can't eat, I can't think, I'm filled with rage. I asked this woman to marry me. I love her. She loves me. She is filled with remorse and regret for what she has done to me and has apologized to me many times this whole year for everything. Is this an open and shut case, get rid, or should I see a way to forgive? If she had ended it a day prior to sleeping with him, would that have changed things? Technically, yes, but our engagement terms have been broken, of course. But if she was in that situation where she felt that way anyway, and I can recognize part of that was my doing, is there a way through to find forgiveness, even if I would not ever think to cheat on her? Or perhaps I'm arrogant to consider myself so noble. All of us have the capacity for cruelty. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. I mean, I feel like this is all just gonna be preference. Everyone's gonna have a different opinion on this because I've seen it in my comment section. I think some people have a certain feeling about cheaters and forgiving them. If you have been cheated on, then someone who maybe has cheated on and they have been the cheater and they see it differently. I can't forgive cheating. I've been in that position. I don't wish it upon anyone. That is me. I've heard success stories of people working through infidelity and they're happily ever after. Personally, it couldn't be me. Let me know your thoughts. Before we get to the next story, we're hydrating. We have to, okay? It's good for your body, apparently. So they say. Who even really knows, though? Cheers. You guys, our sweet baby angel here has a belly ache. Probably ate something she wasn't supposed to. Miss, I like to dig Q-tips out of the bathroom garbage somehow. That's not what happened here, I don't think, but we are nursing her back to good health. She's just a little pouty and extra needy during this time, and that's okay. Send her your well wishes. She'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's okay. Next story. I made a huge mistake and oversight and really hurt my cousin right before my wedding. Oh. This story came July 19th, 2016. The thought that 2016 is almost a decade ago makes me want to throw up. So, a little background. I'm the oldest of 6 cousins on my mom's side. All of us, except the second youngest, let's call her Molly, are boys. We all used to spend a few weeks together at our grandparents' who lived by a lake, basically just running around, boating, fishing, hiking, and doing whatever. I'll be the first to admit we weren't the nicest to Molly because we were young and idiots and didn't want to hang out with the girl. We used to purposely leave her behind, tell her she couldn't hang out with us, and only spent time with us when our grandparents forced us. Like I said, we were a-holes, and after a while, she stopped even trying. When I was 17, she was about 11, I caught her crying one day, which surprised me because she was actually a really tough kid, and I asked her what was wrong. After some prodding, she admitted that she was miserable and hated coming to the lake when we were all there because of how we treated her. She was also being bullied a lot in school for her looks. She wasn't ugly, but she was kind of awkward and was basically getting treated the same way at school by all of her classmates. I felt like crap because I didn't really hate her, and the whole keep the girl away thing was a jerk move on our part because we never really disliked her. I apologized for hurting her and I promised to make it up to her. I made sure she was included the rest of the summer, and I made sure that the other boys didn't try to exclude her and gave them crap if they did. She had a blast that summer and the next summer with us, and things really turned around. After that, I went to college, but my younger brothers said they kept including her for the summers after that, and they also felt like crap for treating her badly for so long. Fast forward a few years. We really only see each other once or twice a year, but we're Facebook friends, and it looks like life is working out for Molly. She graduated, got a job, seems like she has great friends, so I'm happy for her. Here's the problem. So, like I said, I'm getting married this weekend to a great chick. We've been planning our wedding for the last year, and of course, both of our extended families are invited. Then it came down to the rehearsal dinner. My parents are hosting, and they didn't want it to be a huge affair, so when me and my fiancé came up with a guest list, we decided that we would only invite the obvious. Parents, grandparents, siblings, members of the wedding party, and because our parents are all really close, and at my mom's insistence, aunts and uncles. That list hit our max for the venue until we realized we had 3 cousins under 15. 2 on her side, 1 on mine, who were from out of town and would basically be stuck in hotel rooms while their parents came to our rehearsal dinner. So we tacked them on. Our venue wasn't happy because we were now over our limit, but they agreed to make the exception. So everything was fine and dandy until Saturday, when we had a small get-together, as most of our relatives came a week early, or they already lived here, to turn it into a vacation. Everyone was relaxing and chatting and obviously talking about the wedding coming up, and people began talking about the rehearsal dinner, and that is when I realized I messed up. See, we didn't include cousins on the rehearsal dinner list because we were trying to keep the numbers down. My fiancé has 4 cousins, 2 under 15, so they're coming, and 2 who are bridesmaids, so they're coming. And like I said, there are 6 cousins in my family. The cousin closest to me in age is my best man, so he's invited. 2 are my brothers, they're invited, and the youngest is 13, and they're coming with my parents. Somehow we managed to invite every cousin on both sides of our families except for Molly. I feel like crap, and she didn't say anything to me, but I know she knows, but she left the get-together before I could even explain it. I know it looks bad. I told my mom and she said, oh, it's fine, she'll get over it. I sat down with my fiance and I told her the whole thing, and she feels like crap too. We tried calling the venue to see if we could add her, but because we're already over the limit and the rehearsal dinner is in 4 days, they told us we would have to change to a larger space, which would cost us an extra $600, which we can't afford. I thought of inviting her anyways, but my fiance pointed out that because it's a plated brunch with a set menu, we wouldn't have a seat for her or food, so she would just be standing there, odd person out, with no chair and no food. Plus, it would seem like an afterthought, which it is, and I know she probably already feels betrayed. I feel like crap and I don't know how to fix this. She won't answer my calls, and I don't feel like this is something I can explain through texts or emails without sounding like an even bigger a-hole. Because no matter what, it would be like saying, yeah, sorry cuz you just couldn't make the cut. Yeah, you done messed up. You done messed up. Let's see how we handled it though, because we got an update. So the update came 1 week later. We are at July 26th. I was still trying to figure out how to apologize to Molly for my oversight and make it up to her. I had pretty much decided to grovel at her feet and had planned to give up my plate at the rehearsal so that she could come and eat and not be left out. And I was bouncing ideas off my fiance on maybe taking Molly out for lunch a few times after we got back from our honeymoon, because I really did want to repair the relationship. Anyways, I was out running some last minute errands on Wednesday. I had to pick up the tux, and when I came home, I found my fiance sitting on the sofa chatting with Molly like they were old friends. They'd only met on Monday at the family get-together that my parents threw. My fiance, let's call her Emily, stood up and said, so I told Molly the truth about the rehearsal dinner and that when I was going through the guest list to bring the numbers down, I didn't recognize her name and I didn't realize that she was your cousin. Emily had gone behind my back, called Molly and invited her over to explain why she didn't get an invitation, took the blame and told her how bad I felt when I realized it the other day. She even told Molly the truth about me planning on inviting her anyways and giving up my plate because I didn't want to hurt our relationship. She had apparently also called the venue and, in her own words, went bridezilla to get Molly a seat. She also invited Molly to go with her and her bridesmaids when they went to get their hair and nails done as an apology for her screw up, because it actually wasn't her screw up at all. Guys, if I didn't already have a whole wedding planned, I would have eloped with her on the spot. Molly gave me a hug and told me she appreciated me being willing to give up my plate at my own rehearsal dinner, but to quit being such a whiner and enjoy my weekend. So the rehearsal and brunch went great, and I was really glad to have my whole family in there, and I was finally able to enjoy myself. Molly didn't end up going with Emily and her bridal party because she didn't want to intrude, but was still grateful for the invitation. The wedding went perfect. I married the most awesome person in the world, and we all had a blast at the reception. I did end up confessing to Molly towards the end of the reception because part of me still felt guilty. The only thing she asked was if the blame Emily thing was Emily's idea. I told her it was, and I had no idea she was going to do it, but I was serious about giving up my plate to make sure that she could still come. She actually laughed at me and told me I was an idiot, but that I picked a good one. Anyway, she forgave me completely, even though I really didn't deserve it. I asked her if she was coming to the after party. Yes, we had an after party for our wedding reception after the adults and younger kids went home at our apartment. She said Emily had already invited her and she wouldn't miss it, which she didn't. We all hung out drinking and playing board games until about 4 a.m. That sounds so much fun. Did you guys have an after party at your wedding? Did any of the weddings I've gone to this year? One of them had an after party that I did not make it to. No, everyone just kind of went home. Let me know if you guys had an after party at your wedding, because now I'm just nosy and curious. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.